So,
oh, look at that double bow tie.
Double bow tie.
This is great.
Is this better? Okay.
Look, Sam wears really lousy ties. I brought one of his on just so you could see how bad it is. But,
So is this our first? Is this?
Folks.
Is this our first guest appearance here?
No, we had Bart Schulten from the CFTC up earlier today,
Okay.
but this is the first guest appearance during the primary process. So so you want to introduce?
So okay, this
Jim
is Jim Manley. People around Washington D.C. know this man. He's a legend. So he really doesn't need he doesn't need an introduction. But there are people outside of D.C. watching. So Jim, you worked for Senator Harry Reid most recently as his communications director.
Correct.
And a very close aide, and you were involved in some of the biggest fights that were done in the past 2 years with respect to Obama's legislative agenda.
Yeah,
and you have since sold out, and you now are working for what you call a public affairs firm, which is such a load. You work for a lobbyist.
Well, hold
Make
on
sure
a
you give
second.
him
Let me
the mic
stop
there.
right there. First of all, the name of the firm is QGA Public Affairs, and I am, in fact, not a lobbyist, but I provide strategic advice and counsel to clients.
So you're like the Newt Gingrich or whatever this thing is.
I'm delighted to be here. I don't know about the Newt Gingrich part. But
Would the Obama campaign be able to accept your donations?
yes, in fact,
Okay,
they would,
then-
yes.
then we're
But let's
clean.
don't give them any ideas right now. So let's don't go. I'm just starting off in this business, so no.
Have you actually received a paycheck yet?
I have, in fact. received it.
Okay, so you're official. Okay.
But wait a minute, let's be clear. I
Formally
mean,
a sellout.
first of all, you guys work for a multi-million-dollar corporation with outfits, with offices all around the world. So I'm not going to listen to this.
And look at the TV set we have to work with. Right?
This is stunningly beautiful.
All right, so I'm going to leave it to Zach, but I want quickly your thoughts. Obviously, we don't have the results from Illinois tonight yet.
Yeah.
We will, and we're going to get you back on when they come in. But, you've watched this primary process very closely. You tweet about it constantly, annoyingly. Describe what you're thinking and going into this evening.
Sure. Well, a couple different things. First of all, you got to realize I was kind of late to this watching the primary process. First of all, when the process started, I refused to watch it because it's just I found it maddening. But one night I heard James Carville say something that I thought was very instructive, or maybe it was Paul Begala. He was urging everyone, all Americans, to watch these primaries to find and to see once and for all how right-wing and out of step all of these candidates are. And of course, that's proven to be the case. Mitt Romney, your viewers should know, I've been watching him since 1994 when I was a lowly staffer for Senator Kennedy in that race in 94. Senator Kennedy was down in both public and private polls towards the end of September, down about 6 points, and by the time November came around, he won by 17 points. And then later on, when he became governor, I watched him very closely. As an aide and press secretary to Senator Kennedy. Same thing I saw then, I see now. This is a man without core conviction. He has no real beliefs. He is prone to making flip-flops. And I can tell you as a Democrat, I'm feeling a lot better about President Obama's chances in November.
But I think even you can concede that when it comes to the operational features of a campaign, whether it's raising money, whether it's making sure you're on the ballot, which has proved difficult for some of these candidates, Mitt Romney is head and shoulders above the competition, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. But I mean, having said that, let's be clear. This is speaking of such things as ballot access. This is the gang that couldn't shoot straight. I mean, there's no reason for Rick Santorum or Newt Gingrich to be in the race right now. But again, the fact is they are, and as a Democrat, I'm very, very happy. Does he have a good team? Yes. Has he done all the basics right? Absolutely. Does he have what it takes to go the long haul? Absolutely not. Can he stand up to Obama one-on-one?
Well, hold on, because then we got to talk about super PACs, because that's been sort of the great equalizer, right?
Absolutely. I think, according to reports today, he outspent Romney super PAC outspent Santorum 7-1 in Chicago, I believe it was, and 20-1 statewide. It's a massive operation. The fact is they're prepared to do whatever they can to try and win.
Yeah.
Are
you surprised that Obama's super PAC, run by Bill Burr, has had such trouble to this point to raise money except from Bill Maher?
Yeah, that's been a little disappointing. Bill's a friend of mine. I know what he's got. I know he has what it takes to make this thing work. But the fact is, they put themselves a little behind the eight ball when they decided that they weren't going to play this game. As much as I want to complain about the campaign process, it is what it is, and to unilaterally disarm like they've done, I think it was a mistake. I think they've recognized that it's a mistake, and now they're going to try and switch gears and try and raise more money.
So you're going to be writing, what, a $2 million check or a $3 million check?
Again, Sam, I'm just starting off in this business, so I'll just provide, I'll just pontificate and.
I'm going to open it up to Zach now.
Here, why don't we give this, give Jim the mic?
Okay.
So, thanks, Sam.
All right, I'll be right back.
You can stick around if you want.
I'm going to be right back.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned Mitt Romney's sort of inconstancy, I almost said incontinence there, but his inconstancy on issues is it tendency to shift from one issue to another and lacking core convictions. The Washington Post ran a story this week on the debt deal negotiations, which was very critical of President Obama, but not nearly as critical as Jonathan Chait's piece for New York Magazine.
I read both, correct.
Right,
Yes.
and it seems to me that President Obama has a problem when Jonathan Chait, in particular, is calling him a sellout in his headlines, saying that he almost sold out liberalism by advocating big cuts to Social Security and Medicare.
Yeah.
Will that come back to haunt him in the general election?
I honestly don't think so, because I believe that they have recognized that you can't negotiate with hostage takers, and that they've learned their lesson and they're not going to go down that path again. The fact is, and I've said this repeatedly before, the issue with the administration was that they thought they could actually negotiate with John Boehner and Eric Cantor, and the fact is that they weren't interested in negotiating. I mean, my God, when you're in a situation during the debt limit negotiations when the opening bid of the Tea Party types was that they were going to at least allow a vote on whether to raise a debt limit. I mean, that shows just a serious lack of judgment. So, having said that, I think they realized that was a mistake, and I don't think we're going to see that again. So, is it going to hurt in the end? No, absolutely. Absolutely not, rather.
But you mentioned the Obama team being sort of behind the eight ball on super PAC money. That's something that's been really, really present in the primary process for Republicans. I mean, the only reason really that either Rick Santorum or Newt Gingrich have been able to stay in the campaign is because they've had these big donations from these mono donors.
I see that Sheldon Adelson is just pumping up some more money for Speaker Gingrich this afternoon. So,
well, one of the things we noticed, it's not just us, but I think that everybody's noticed, is that the ads tend to be more negative the more distance they can get between the organization sponsoring the ad and the candidate, which means there's been a ton of negative ads going. With someone like Mitt Romney, who can pretty much finance his own campaign on his own, with or without donors, don't you worry that as a Democrat that there's going to be an awful lot of money and an awful lot of negative advertising running against President Obama that could be effective on things like the debt limit, was willing to cut Medicare, trying to cut Social Security?
Two responses. Am I worried? Yes. Am I confident in the end that they'll have the money necessary to do what they need to do? Absolutely. The other point I want to make is I got to tell you, I am sure glad that I'm not working for a senator that's up for re-election this year. This is the ugliest, nastiest election I've seen in a long, long time, and I don't see it changing anytime soon, so I'm just glad that I'm sitting on the sidelines for this one.
So I want to ask you a question about that, too. Is it more fun being a sellout and making a lot of money, or dealing with Harry Reid?
Yeah, leaving aside the sellout word, because I obviously don't agree with that. Look
at these threads.
Yeah. Oh, well, wait a minute. Let's be clear. Wearing the tuxedo was not my idea, so I only did it just for laughs. So, and I'm glad
It's great.
I'm glad to do it. Though you got to understand. Well, the two things. Number one, if I had an agent, I'd probably fire him or her for suggesting I come on this damn thing tonight. Number one. Number two, you got to realize just before coming on the air, the button of my tuxedo just broke. So I'm a little hurting in that regard as well. So having said that, I spent 21 years in the Senate, 3 years for Majority Leader Mitchell, 12 years working for Senator Edward M. Kennedy, and 6 years for Senator Reid. Greatest experience of my life. I don't regret a second. It was tough. The hours were long. Putting up with annoying questions from, I don't know, liberal reporters from Huffington Post, for instance, trying to advance their agenda, but by trying to use me to get to where they wanted to go. But it was a great.
What is our agenda here at the Huffington Post? Do you want to inform our readers or viewers?
It's to bang up Democrats where possible, but also to provide an alternative to Republicans as well.
Most of the hate mail I get says that I'm worshiping my Kenyan Muslim socialist messiah. So.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those over the years myself, I got to tell you.
All right, Jim, well, thanks for coming on. We're going to have you back on later when we've got some more results. And we want to do some analysis.
Zach, I'd shake your hand, but you put a beer in my hand, so I can't.
Here, I'll take this out of there we go. Let's do that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.